Hey guys, welcome back to World End Economica episode 2. Episode 2. I'm going to get straight back into a story. Things were already out of hand at its celebration. It wasn't even noon. Saying things went crazy all of a sudden because there was a few issues would have been a lousy excuse. Someone pulled out an instrument and people began to be drawn to a lively atmosphere. Before long, 22nd Block Church was overflowing with drunkards. It was probably even hard for even teetotalists to refuse a drink at this point. But since it was so crazy, no one would notice if one or two people disappeared. After failing to decline my third beer, I was able to escape to a stairway and led to an apartment rooftop. I was short of breath and my head was buzzing since I didn't normally drink. I rested my head against a cool limestone wall and the dim stairway for relief. It was really great that Chris was going off to college, and I totally understand why the guys who were making such an uproar about it. Here on the lunar surface, it looked like a lot of people built their success with nothing but a shirt on their backs. But it only appeared that way because there were so many who were trying. In reality, your chances of success here were probably the same, with a low amount of terrors. It was a fact that assailed my mind relentlessly. Hence why there was quite a lot of citizens who looked up at the crystalline skyscrapers of Newton City and found themselves paralysed with awe. Yet there was those rare few who never gave up. Those who studied fervently with their left hand long after their right hand was worn out. Those who then accepted into Lunar City University by skipping grades even on a full scholarship. She'd been a hard worker since she was young, but just watching her from the sidelines that last year was just sublime. She probably worked hard because her father, her only living relative, returned to Terra. There, he saved his money and paid off his debt by working in one of the rigorous mining harvesting sites. Still though, you can't just say people have tried harder when under pressure. Chris never bent, never stopped, never gave in. She was simply amazing. So very different from me. My body stopped moving that day 4 years ago. That's how much of a shock it was. I pressed my head absent-mindedly against a wall in a desolated area for weeks, for months. Thinking about it now, I was all but a cripple. It wasn't suffering and regret for repeating over and over. It would have been so much better if it had that intensity. Having lost that connection, it felt like my battery had run out and there was nothing I could do. Chris moved back into reality by checking up on me and talking to me during that time. Of course, back then, Chris and I weren't that close, and I heard much later it was Risa who suggested to come over to my house. That's why she always poked in timidly and always walked in stealthily. When it felt like I was going to burst out laughing from the irony of her coming even though she was about so bashful, blood started coursing from my heart again. I imagined her inquisitive blue eyes as I pressed my head against a wall. Chris stuck her head out from the corner of the corridor. She looked around quickly like a rabbit with her eyes behind her large round glasses. Her messy hair was the same as always. The only things that changed with her was her height and somewhat more pronounced figure. I reminisced what's more about Chris my memories. She looked around again before coming to my side. As usual, she was unfaltered by my staring. Nestled against her chest was a bag that I recognised. I then finally realised that this in fact was a real Chris. So there you are. Even though she'd accepted into college, it appeared that she still couldn't fix that worried-looking smile of hers. It made me want to straighten up her slumped posture and tell her to have more confidence. What about you? Can a star of a thing just disappear like that? It looks like alcohol's a star. That wasn't to put herself down, but more like she had observed in detail the state of that room. When I motioned for her to take the spot next to me, she sat by me bashfully and after a bit reluctant. What were you thinking about? She'd always start the conversations for these past 4 years. We look out of it. How about the past? Past? When you began coming to my place? She blinked surprisingly behind those glasses. When I brazenly said that, she gave me a rare, terribly precocious smile. You're quite mean. Mean? Yeah, because. She had an obvious sour look on her face when she said that. Reese had asked me to go, and that's why I went. Huh, well that's true. Yeah. I couldn't understand what Chris meant with a reassuring nod. Yeah, but... well, oh. Huh? In the beginning, it was only just you coming by. That's because there was that stuff in my dad in a different house, so I felt like I was going crazy. And that's not it. We're talking about how that's mean for you saying such a thing. Because of liquor, I couldn't think straight. Did you come here today because you were asked to? She used to threaten to be startled by a little cowering animal. Now his mischievous little blue eyes of us stares at me. More like how Risa said that I'd change. Chris become more grown up. Maybe, sort of. She appeared to be genuinely hurt when I gave her my answer. But that was the truth. There are many categories of truth. But I'm still grateful even now that he came to me then, even if he didn't want to. She looked at me with a suspicious gaze. When she gave up and started laughing exasperatingly when I met her, I'd look at her honest face. I'd just be grateful too. I'd appreciate it if you were. Chris giggled and took a few deep breaths and continued talking. Anyway, Haru. Yes, my lady? When he answered with a mock response, Chris looked at me with a mix of happiness and annoyance. She liked being teased, so I couldn't help it. Don't make fun of me for this. I won't. What is it? The gift. Can I open it? As I thought about that, my eyes wandered to her bosom. Holding that parcel affectionately, she looked like a girl who'd just woken up. Seemed embarrassingly embracing something. I moved my gaze from my bag back to her face before responding. Of course, go ahead. She looked truly happy as she opened the gift. I think the first thing I ever gave Chris were pork buns from the old pork bun lady. Over time, Chris went on guard like a feral cat fed by a human for the first time. Of course, it wasn't something one could laugh at. Closing a gap between people was a tremendous feat. That's why you could do things with someone you wouldn't have otherwise imagined when you close a gap and trust them. I never would have thought that when I first met Hagana that we'd hold hands while sleeping in the same bed, and then I'd be thinking of the most important person in the world. That's why it was also very easy to take that trust and twist it. I wasn't used to trusting others. I was someone who didn't know who could be trusted or who had to be trusted. I'll never forget a man named Barton. What I had done to Hagana was on a totally different level. It was more pathetic and cruel. At the 11th hour, I pushed away Hagana's hand. I was afraid. I still remember the sensation of my hand from then. My right hand ached and went numb when I remembered it. Not even figuratively, it really was aching. Real and psychological, it was the same reason my body wouldn't move. It was true what they said about my illness starting in your mind. If you thought to overcome your mind, then your body responds in kind. I tried to stop my right hand from aching, but I couldn't do it. There's a famous line in psychology about not thinking about a white bear. When someone says, don't think about a white bear, it's hard to think of anything but a white bear. When I tried to clear my thoughts of Hagana was all I could think of. The unpleasant look in her eyes, the black outfit, and that cute innocent smile she showed from time to time. It was me, this right hand of mine, that pushed all that away. I became as stiff as a tree trunk, straining as hard as I could to hide my right hand was shaking. From my hand to my wrist to my arm. From my arm to my shoulder, and then a stiffening fear gripped my entire body. When it felt large in my throat, something warm touched my hand. It's okay. As if my attention was drawn to it. I saw Chris reach over and hold my right hand. It's okay. That was all you could do back then. All we did was rely on you. Her blue eyes looked at me from behind those plain and practical round glasses. Those beautiful blue eyes, fearless and unfaltering with their unwavering confidence. Charmed by the sight, I felt things turn back slowly as my spiral of failure came to an end. Chris has topped these seizure-like episodes of mine many times over these last few years. The quickest way to chase out thoughts of Hagana from my mind was only to think about what was in front of me. Chris's warm hand pulled me back into reality. Did it pass? An inquiring smile of hers always made me feel like she was being saved from something as well. It was one of those strange aspects of Chris, even though I was one being saved. Yeah, I'm fine it seems. The alcohol must have been bad. I blurted out, feeling both ashamed and grateful for stopping my stay shaking. No, it was your fault. Huh? He looked so happy opening the bag, I remembered the past where I gave you his pork buns. And even though remembering the past isn't good for me. She looked at me in disbelief, and her face crumpled up like she was about to burst into tears. When Chris made that face, I wanted to hold her hand. Save him in a time of need. I knew this was a simple reaction a man makes. But also knew that Chris had feelings for me. Naturally, Risa and Xero teased her about it. Even so, it was something that made me stop my hand, and Chris was aware of that as well. Yet neither of us could speak of it. The inevitable truth of Hagana. It felt morbid, but neither of us wanted to cross that line. That was why I was unable to calmly say it. It's just that I don't think you'd be too happy about this present. Not with how happy you would get over pork buns. What? What do you mean by that? She said that while digging into a paper bag as if she just remembered it was there. Looking at the face Chris made when she took it out made me grateful that my face didn't move. If it did, I'd probably have a sinister sneer on my face that would anger even the ever-tolerant Chris. Oh god, what did you get her? A bush? That's fantastic. It's a high-end item made of boar bristles. Boar, that's, Make yourself pretty by brushing your hair a bit. I took a brush from Chris's hand and put it against the golden bird's nest of her head. Chris actually jumped back and ran, so I didn't actually brush her. Her face went red, so I didn't chase after her. Chris had her back to against the wall. I stroked the bristles of a brush with my fingers while tossing it over to her. Instead of scratching your head while you're studying, you just run the brush through your hair. Oh my god, that's adorable. I faced her directly and pushed the corners of my mouth with my fingers and cast an amorous glance at her as she groaned. Naturally, Risa and Thoreau teased her about it. Chris gave me a hand as I tried to stand up on my crutches. She looked a little concerned when I stood up before her. Looked at her brush in Chris's hand without looking at her face and spoke. Oh, just like me. Huh? All you need to do is just tend to that hair of yours and go in a little at a time. That's what you always do when you come against a hard problem, isn't it? That's what she always said to me over and over again until I was finally able to move my body again. She choked back what she was going to say and then nodded in resignation. My hair is curly. I laughed intentionally and pushed up the corners of my mouth with my fingers. She looked at me reproachfully, but said shortly, I'll treasure it. Yeah. Same as I looked at my tablet clock. I need to get back to work. Huh? It's been going on to the middle of the night, isn't it? I'll come again. Reese will be on about me too. You won't come in against these three towels, you two? She stared right at me. It was enough to make me think about gravity, even without recalling Newton and his apple. The story of Newton's apple was apocryphal. But it made me wonder if thought how to draw others closer, and if he came up with gravity from that. I started walking up as if to escape Chris's gravitational field. Please don't be cruel, my left leg doesn't move after all. It was about 7% true, but I couldn't go unless Risa told me to go. Ironically, it was the entire reason behind me getting closer to Chris. Please come. See you later. Jeez. She exposed her indignation, but she didn't bother chasing after me. I did feel like she was becoming more of an adult, but people don't change deep down. She probably wasn't able to sleep at all the day before the college entrance exam. She was likely to shook up. She was good at getting a steady pace, but taking a great leap was a weak point. And how about myself? I think that's going to do it for today as well, guys. As ever, thank you very much for watching. Join me again next time when I carry on the story in episode 3. Or episode 2. Episode 3 or episode... Whatever. I'm going to stop naming numbers in a second because it's going to start getting annoying. Join me next time anyway. Bye bye.